Привет, друзья! Продолжаем с вами разбирать интервью Хью Гранта. Напомню вам, что наша с вами задача не переводить все подряд, а активировать лексику. Мгм. Ну что, поехали.
Now, have you just come from London? You just didn't come from London, did you?
Yes, I did. Yeah, the day before
Now
yesterday.
you know what they have over there is the hoof and mouth disease.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And it's terribly serious, and they're eradicating all manner of I guess it's a sheep and cattle because of this problem. And they quarantine. And now, were you sprayed
That's
or
hideous.
anything when you came here?
Well, no, they were very kind to me because I wasn't actually bringing any cattle this time. So I think they always
Have you traveled with cattle in the past?
they hate that. They're very sharp on that.
Yeah.
So, the hoof and mouth disease, ящур, an infectious disease of cattle, sheep, pigs, and goats. They eradicating. Eradicate means get rid of, do away with, destroy, annihilate, kill, wipe out. They're eradicating all manner of sheep, cattle. All manner of means all kinds of, all sorts of. They quarantine. Quarantine is a verb here, meaning they put them into quarantine. Also, if you quarantine, you are in quarantine, you stay in quarantine, so the meaning depends on the context. And now, were sprayed or anything? Spray. In other words, did they spray you at the border? They're very sharp on that, meaning they are alert and deal with things quickly and intelligently. Yeah? In other words, they're quick-witted, clever, shrewd, bright, alert, smart. They're on the ball. Yeah, they keep their eyes open for things. Yeah, очень внимательны к этому. They're sharp on that.
But actually, it's a horrible thing. And I did get a fax today, sort of from the British authorities, saying, please, when you're doing press out in America, make it plain to America that England's still safe. It's open for business. You can come and visit. So I'd just like to say to America, please, it's absolutely safe unless you happen to be a sheep or a cow. In which case it's quite dangerous. Or unless you're perhaps partly cow. If you've overdone the collagen, you should be very careful.
So, do press, meaning giving interviews, yeah? Out in America. Make it plain to somebody, meaning explain it to somebody. It's absolutely safe unless you happen to be a sheep or a cow. Unless means except if. Yes? Except if you happen to be a sheep or a cow. If you, in other words, if you by any chance are a sheep or a cow. Partly means not completely. And if you've overdone collagen. So Hugh Grant's talking about collagen injections. Collagen is basically made from cows.
It's already taken a toll on tourism for that very reason, hasn't it?
Not yet. No, it hasn't, he said. Not even slightly.
But it's not a threat to humans, is that right? It cannot be transmitted to humans, this disease.
No, not even slightly.
Yeah, but it's the sheep and the cattle. They're putting them down by the dozens, I understand.
No, it's hideous. It's hideous.
Yeah.
It's a horrible thing.
Well, I hope they get to the bottom of this thing.
Okay, if something takes a toll or takes its toll, it has a negative impact. It causes harm, yes? It causes damage. For example, years of smoking and drinking have taken a toll on your health. Негативно сказаться, причинять вред, нанести ущерб, нанести тяжелый урон. Take a toll on somebody or something. Transmitted, passed on from one person or place to another. For example, knowledge is transmitted from teacher to pupil, or sexually transmitted diseases, yeah? Another example. Put down an animal means to kill an animal without causing it any pain because it's old or ill. For example, our cat got cancer and we had to have him put down, or put him to sleep. Yes, euthanized him. No, it's hideous. It's a horrible thing. Hideous means extremely ugly or extremely unpleasant. The synonyms would be horrific, terrible, awful, dreadful, frightful, fearful, horrible, horrendous, horrifying, shocking. Well, I hope they get to the bottom of this thing. Get to the bottom of something. Докопаться до сути, разобраться. For example, he was determined to get to the bottom of the problem.
Now, when you travel, do they always are you searched and frisked when you come through customs and that kind of thing? Have you ever been detained?
The awful thing is I am, because I am a serial, uncontrollable smuggler. I can't seem to stop.
Really?
It started some years ago on the way. We were coming back from a holiday in Turkey, and we bought these rugs. And I said to Elizabeth, who I was then with, I think we have to declare these. And she's insane. I said, no, it's fine. Just put them in the suitcases. So we put them in the suitcases. Suitcases wouldn't even shut. There was great bits of carpet sticking out.
These are actual large Turkish rugs?
About 7 huge rolled-up rugs.
Yeah.
Are you searched and frisked when you come through customs? Basically, search and frisk are synonyms here. For example, the policeman searched the man, frisked the man for hidden drugs and weapons. Frisk. Come through customs, or go through customs, or pass through customs. Well, when you arrive in a country, you declare the items or things, you're bringing into this country, and if necessary, pay a fee, some money. Go through customs. Проходить таможенный досмотр. I am a serial uncontrollable smuggler. I can't seem to stop. Smuggle means to move goods illegally into or out of a country. For example, he's been smuggling cigarettes into Spain. Okay? So Hugh Grant is a serial smuggler, meaning he smuggles again and again. So rugs. A very common thing in England. So maybe Hugh Grant wanted to make his place, his home, more comfortable or cozier. Well, if something sticks out, it's very noticeable. So you can stick out your tongue, or your ears might stick out. Okay, rolled up rugs.
So suitcases were open with bits of rug showing. There were others rolled up under her arms with brown paper around them. Nothing could have looked more rug-like than these things. Walked through customs. The customs guy says, "You haven't by any chance got any carpets, have you?" And I couldn't believe my ears. She said, "No." So what? Can you open the packet? Boing, out comes a carpet. That's the only one then, is it? Yes, that's the only one. Could you open your suitcases? Boing, 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 boing. And we were horribly done. They take you into a room
And we were horribly done. Okay, done. It's a synonym of cooked. Yeah, it's kind of slang. It means to be in trouble, to be in danger, to be in difficulty. For example, you dented mom's new car. Oh man, you're cooked. You're done. So they were horribly done. Yeah, they were in trouble.
Very frightening men come in. It's very ancient, the whole customs thing in England. And about 6 guys stand there, one of them about 90 years old, and they say formally, "It is now 2 o'clock in the morning, and you are charged with smuggling." And everyone has to write down smuggling on bits of paper. And then they say, "Your property is now seized," and everyone has to write seized. And then it says, "It is now the property of the Queen," and you write down Queen. And then you have a choice. You either pay the fine or you buy it back from the Queen.
And what did you do?
Well, you say how much does the Queen want. And And they won't tell you.
So if you're charged with something, the police or other officials make a formal statement saying that you've committed a crime or something illegal. So in this case, Hugh Grant was charged with smuggling. If your property is seized, it's confiscated. Take something by force. Take hold of something. Grab, grasp, snatch. For example, he seized the phone out of my hand. Yeah, he did it rapidly with force. Well, you say, how much does the Queen want? And they won't tell you. Very funny. A witty joke.
So you did not buy them back?
In that case, we did buy them back at vast expense. But, you know, I thought I'd learnt my lesson. Next time, came back from Hong Kong laden with contraband, said, not making the same mistake again, we'll go through the Red Channel. So we went through the Red Channel, which no one has ever been through in the history of Heathrow Airport. There's a man in there, you know, covered in cobwebs, very amazed to see us. And we declare everything, tons of this stuff, and he says that's marvellous, and that's it, is it? No video cameras, no TVs, no watches, no. He said, what about that watch you're wearing, madam? And I said, no, I got that ages ago in France, that's fine. In France, sir? Did you declare that when you came into the country? And I thought, never lie to these guys. I learnt that lesson with the carpets. I said, you know what? As a matter of fact, I didn't. You are now charged with smuggling?
Retroactive smuggling.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Good Lord, well, you're lucky to be alive.
I am.
I'm not sure what that means, but that's quite a story.
I thought I'd learned my lesson. So if you learn your lesson, you learn what to do or what not to do in the future, because you have had a bad experience in the past. For example, I used to carry a lot of money on me until one day my bag was stolen. Since then, I've learned my lesson. Laden with contraband, meaning loaded with contraband. The man in there, you know, covered in cobwebs, it's a figure of speech. So the attendants or the officers had been idle, doing nothing for years maybe. Okay, retroactive smuggling. If you're charged with retroactive smuggling, you're accused of smuggling you did in the past. That's quite a story. Means that's an amazing story. Well, and that was quite an interview with Hugh Grant. Amazing interview. Я надеюсь, вам понравилось это интервью и наш разбор, и надеюсь, что ваш словарный запас увеличился. До новых встреч! See you in the next video. Goodbye.